you didn't go in the infantry because in the First World War, some of the thousands that got killed in the mass suicides they were, and we said no bugger that. No, I didn't want to go into bomb disposal either. It frightened the hell out of me in bomb disposal when you look down there and you see a 500-pound bomb and they're going twinkie, 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 and you say, I'll get you out there in a minute. And you drop a bit of gun cotton down on top of them, light the fuse and run for your life. And 500 pounds of TNT will go up and blow a hole you can put a truck in.
So you did that on beaches, you did it in jungles?
We done it everywhere they were. If they were bad ones, you just kept out of the sight of them, and you tunnelled underneath them. But the trouble with tunnelling, when you got underneath them and they blew, you got covered in, probably got buried in soil and mud and everything. I've seen trucks go up and down and come down again, all on 4 wheels when these bombs. Unbelievable. Yeah, went to India. We went all the way around.
You went all the way around. You went to South Africa.
That was a wonderful trip.
You went to South Africa, Cape Town.
Yeah.
And India, Bombay,
yeah.
and a couple of other places.
Yeah, well, we were in Canada. We went to Canada, Halifax in Nova Scotia, and I just found out the ship that I jumped off the top of. I found her. I found it. Found her when she was bombed and exploded, and where she finished up, and everything. It's all on my iPad.
Jim, what was the name of the boat?
The Empress of Asia.
And what was the history of that boat?
The history of the boat, she was built in 1913 in Scotland, and she was an armed cruiser. You know, they put a couple of guns on her and she would go bang bang. And she escorted ships all over the world. She held a record for the fastest time for a three-funnelled ship in World War I. She got dive bombed and we were on the top, up front, and we had nowhere to go. We couldn't go back because that was all on a blaze. And so, what do you do? And I said to my sergeant with me, you want to go for a swim, Ted? So we jumped over, boots on, everything on, you didn't worry about boots.
Yeah.
My God, that frightened me.
And there would have been a lot of men jumping off the ship.
Not in that competition because we were up front and we had nowhere else to go. The ones in the middle, they could go back and get on what was left of the lifeboats and that. But we went in the water and I had a life jacket on, but I took my boots off and the bloody things they come up and floated. And so I had nothing on, only a pair of shorts with an old navy spoon stuck in the back, but that's one I knocked off. But
So how long did it take before you were rescued?
Oh, about 2.5 hours before we were picked up. But the oil and the stink and everything.
And so where were you? Where
we were roughly about 10 miles out from the shores of Singapore. And
which is where you were heading? You were heading to Singapore?
Yeah, we were going into Singapore to discharge, you see. They get rid of, a lot of them did get away on another ship ran aside of it and took about 800-900 off, but the majority of them boys on there just burnt to death. Not in the ones that we got. We got all the scum, as you could say. The fighting troops with any brains, they were up front. And we got what was left of us, the cooks and it's bloody awful. You get the bad boys of Nagasaki or some of the Tokyo hounds, as we used to call them, and they'd try everything to antagonise you with their method of control, and their method was simply on control, starve the bastards and make them work. If the silly bastards had only got food to prisoners of war, the number there was, the amount there was of them, if they'd have got the food to that amount of men, they'd had the railway finished 6 months beforehand, they did. But they couldn't see that. Unbelievable what went on, because when you had to stand there and watch them cut the heads off 2 Royal Navy soldiers, servicemen who'd escaped and got recaptured, and we had to stand there and watch their heads being cut off with the old samurai sword. They'd take all their clothes off and they'd stand there and there's 1 or 2 of them didn't get a chance to, our old sergeant didn't get a chance to take his jacket off. We killed him before he hardly got his arms up. We put his body down that well and his head down that well. And that's where they stopped.
Life didn't mean much.
Life didn't mean anything. All in all, you never knew from day to day whether you were going to be alive tomorrow. You're frightened because you never knew what they were coming up to. You never knew whether they were going to have a barney and stick a bayonet through you, or you didn't know. There was no security, there was no sensible in anything. Terrible. I walked past the missus, I never see her, I didn't know her, and all had beards on, and one old doctor got up, this was a little bit later, and he said, "Gentlemen, I'm glad to see you're back well, and they always talk to you in 3s or 4s so that you could help one another through." And he said, "You're all in your 30s now, I doubt very much whether you'll make it to 40. This was in 1946. I'm saying to you now here, enjoy life. There's everything. The moon belongs to everyone. The stars so bright above belong to everyone. There's no need to be miserable, is there?